Welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you join us today on this fascinating and intriguing journey through one of the world's most mysterious subjects. It's something that has captivated the minds of intellectuals, historians, scholars, and everyday people for centuries. Whether they seek to unlock hidden truths, challenge what they've been taught, or simply indulge in some of history's greatest mysteries. Have you ever wondered what the future might hold, especially when it comes to the predictions made by figures such as Nostradamus? Imagine for a moment what it would mean if some of the most unsettling events in our future were already predicted centuries ago. It's a chilling thought, right? What if I told you that Nostradamus, the 16th century French astrologer whose prophecies have perplexed generations, may have foreseen world-shattering events for the near future, particularly for the year 2025? It sounds almost too surreal to believe, but when you look closer at his writings, it becomes apparent that many of his predictions seem to eerily point toward things we're currently facing, or perhaps things we are soon to face. Nostradamus, born Michel de Nostradamus in 1503, was not only an astrologer and a physician, but he was also a visionary whose prophetic writings have made a significant mark on history. His most famous work, Les Prophéties, the Prophecies, is a collection of 942 quatrains, four-line verses that many believe offer a glimpse into the future. Written in a cryptic, metaphorical style, these quatrains have sparked centuries of intrigue, debate, and controversy. Over the years, some of Nostradamus's predictions have been interpreted as prophesying major world events, including the rise of powerful rulers, devastating wars, natural disasters, and even global health pandemics. Some even argue that Nostradamus predicted the downfall of entire civilizations. His writings have fascinated people for generations, not only because of their mystery, but also due to their apparent ability to resonate with specific events in the modern world. Yet the ambiguity of his words means that his quatrains are subject to various interpretations. Some critics argue that the prophecies are so vague and open-ended that they could be applied to any era or situation, while others believe that the specificity of some of his predictions is just too uncanny to ignore. So, as we approach the year 2025, the question on everyone's mind is, could Nostradamus have foreseen the tumultuous and uncertain times ahead? Are we truly on the brink of a future that Nostradamus predicted? Let's take a deeper look at some of his quatrains and see if any of them are pointing toward events that may be about to unfold in our world. Now, before we dive into the specifics of Nostradamus's quatrains, I want to take a moment to invite you to be part of this journey. If this subject intrigues you and you find yourself curious about what the future might hold, especially in relation to ancient prophecies like those of Nostradamus, please like this post, share it with others who enjoy unraveling mysteries, and subscribe to stay updated on more exciting content. Your support helps us continue to explore these fascinating topics, and together, we can uncover the hidden truths that may shape our future. If you're someone who is passionate about discovering the world's secrets and diving deeper into the mysteries of the universe, I also invite you to become a part of our global insights and wisdom community, where you'll gain access to exclusive content, in-depth discussions and analyses that delve into some of the world's most profound mysteries, including the enigmatic world of Nostradamus. Now, let's begin our exploration into the mysterious and cryptic world of Nostradamus and his prophecies. As we study his writings, one of the things that becomes immediately clear is that Nostradamus was not merely writing poetry. He was leaving behind a roadmap of sorts, a vision of the future that transcends his time. His predictions, while sometimes vague, often revolve around key themes that have been central to human history: political unrest, the rise and fall of great powers, natural disasters, and the clash of civilizations. Nostradamus's quatrains have been linked to some of the most significant events in world history. For example, many believe that Nostradamus predicted the rise of Adolf Hitler and the outbreak of World War II. Others point to his writings as having foreseen the September 11th attacks, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. While many of these connections remain up for debate, there is no denying that his prophecies have a timeless quality, and some people firmly believe that his words hold the key to understanding what may come next. And as we draw closer to the year 2025, the question arises, what if Nostradamus had more to say about the challenges and crises awaiting us? As we stand on the precipice of 2025, the world around us seems to be in a state of perpetual uncertainty. Political divisions are more pronounced than ever, with nations polarized both domestically and internationally. There is increasing concern over economic instability, as some countries teeter on the brink of financial collapse, while others are grappling with growing debt and widening inequality. The threat of climate change looms large, with natural disasters becoming more frequent and severe, and environmental degradation threatening our very survival. Tensions between global superpowers are escalating, and in many regions we see the rise of authoritarian regimes and the suppression of basic human rights. In such a world, it's easy to see why people are turning to Nostradamus's prophecies for insight. Could his cryptic quatrains be warning us about the coming storms? Could the future he foresaw be just around the corner? Take, for example, one of the most frequently cited quatrains from Nostradamus's first century, Quatrain 26, which reads, "The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt, an evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition." This particular quatrain has long been interpreted as a prediction about a powerful leader meeting an untimely or violent end. The great man is often thought to refer to a political leader, a king, president, or some other figure of great influence. The thunderbolt is frequently understood as a metaphor for an unexpected and catastrophic event, a shocking and sudden downfall, perhaps due to assassination or a dramatic political shift. In the context of the modern world, could this be referring to the unexpected fall of a powerful leader in 2025? Given the current climate of political unrest and instability across the globe, it's not hard to imagine how such an event might unfold. The thunderbolt could symbolize a dramatic, unforeseen event, perhaps an assassination, a coup, or a sudden political crisis that results in the destabilization of a nation and shakes the global order to its core. But the implications of this quatrain go beyond just the death of one leader. If we consider the broader context of Nostradamus's writings, we might interpret the thunderbolt as something even greater, the potential for a chain reaction of events that triggers widespread chaos. The evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition could suggest that political power struggles, corruption, or the manipulation of the masses could be at play. Perhaps a sinister force that destabilizes governments, fuels civil unrest, or leads to large-scale social upheaval. Could this be pointing to a massive shift in the global power structure, one that will occur in the coming years? As we look around the world today, we see mounting evidence of discontent, growing political polarization, rising populist movements, and increasing tensions between nations. Could Nostradamus's prophecy be a warning of a political crisis that will escalate into something far more disruptive? Is the world on the brink of a thunderbolt moment that will reshape the global order? In a world where information is constantly manipulated and power is increasingly concentrated in the hands of a few, it's not difficult to see how the events Nostradamus predicted might unfold. The ambiguity of his prophecies only adds to the sense of mystery and anticipation. As we move closer to the year 2025, it's possible that the predictions made by Nostradamus are more relevant now than ever. His warnings of great upheaval, political instability, and the collapse of old systems of power seem to speak directly to our current moment, a time of rising uncertainty, turmoil, and change. As we reflect on Nostradamus's work, it's essential to keep in mind the broader context of his time. He lived through an era of political upheaval, war, and religious conflict, an era in which the very foundations of European society were being challenged. His quatrains reflect his deep awareness of the fragile nature of power, the unpredictability of human history, and the dangers of social, political, and economic instability. As we approach 2025, it's impossible to ignore the fact that many of the issues Nostradamus wrote about, political instability, the collapse of great powers, and the rise of authoritarianism, are playing out in real time. Will his prophecies prove to be more than just historical curiosity? Or are we on the verge of a new chapter in human history, one that Nostradamus may have foreseen centuries ago? This unsettling prediction about political upheaval leads us to wonder, how vulnerable are the world's leaders today? In an era where information can be manipulated, where new forces of rebellion grow stronger by the day, and where the public's trust in traditional institutions continues to wane, it seems that many governments around the world are sitting on a powder keg of social dissatisfaction. As we witness increasing polarization between political parties, growing distrust of the mainstream media, and the rise of populist leaders who capitalize on the anger of the disenfranchised, it's hard not to wonder if the great man Nostradamus was referring to could fall victim to a similar fate. Could this thunderbolt be a metaphor for a global shift of power, a dramatic turning point where the people rise against their leaders? But the implications of such an event would stretch far beyond just the fall of a leader. If political instability takes hold, could it ignite power struggles, leading to civil disobedience or even a greater fracture within the country itself? There's talk that states might even push for independence, adding even more tension to the already frail state of affairs. Nostradamus wasn't just warning about the immediate crisis. He seemed to foresee the ripple effects that would follow, such as societal division and rising discord. As we witness increasing polarization, could we be witnessing the first signs of this turmoil unfolding before our eyes? If you believe this prophecy might be playing out, drop a comment with "I see the signs." Further, Nostradamus doesn't stop there. In Quatrain 17 from his 2nd century, he speaks of 3 brothers who will bring about global chaos. Many scholars and interpreters have long believed that these brothers symbolize the great powers of China, the United States, and Russia, 3 superpowers locked in a fierce struggle for dominance. Nostradamus mentions that these nations will face suffering beyond anything witnessed before, marked by hunger, fire, blood, and plague. This raises a troubling question. Could this prophecy point toward an imminent collapse within one of these nations? With China already struggling with internal unrest, economic downturns, and political tensions, is this a warning that China's grip on power could falter in a way we've never seen? The prophecy also suggests that this suffering will not be isolated to one country alone. Could this turmoil spread across the globe as tensions escalate between China and its adversaries, particularly the United States? The reference to hunger, fire, blood, and plague might symbolize more than just physical devastation. It could represent an impending economic crisis, natural disasters, or even the outbreak of war. The prophecy also mentions a maritime city, which has led many to speculate that Taiwan or Hong Kong could be the focal point of a geopolitical conflict with far-reaching consequences. If a confrontation over one of these territories were to escalate, it could very well trigger a chain reaction of global instability, plunging the world into chaos. The future of the world might be hanging in the balance as we move toward this pivotal moment. If you feel the storm is coming, share "the storm is coming" in the comments. As we expand on Nostradamus's vision, we must also consider his reference to the great city that will be divided into 3 parts. Many modern-day scholars interpret this as a reference to New York City, London, and other major world capitals. In recent years, we've seen heightened tensions in these cities, each one becoming increasingly fragile in the face of political strife, economic crises, and social unrest. It's easy to imagine how these cities, once symbols of power, wealth, and stability, could find themselves under siege, either from within or from external forces. Could these cities fall? Will the foundations of these global hubs of finance and culture crumble in the wake of escalating conflict? Looking deeper into Nostradamus's cryptic verses, there's another part of his work that hints at a new kind of war, a war that isn't fought with traditional weapons, but with technologies that we've only begun to comprehend. With the rise of cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, and the increasing militarization of space, could Nostradamus's prophecies be foretelling a high-tech battle that shifts the very nature of conflict? In quatrain 72 of Century the 18, he writes, "The great city will be broken into 3 parts, and the great red star will shine in the sky." This has been interpreted in many ways, but one theory suggests that the great city could represent major global capitals like New York or London, which are seen as the power centers of the world. The red star could be a reference to Mars or the rising power of a country like China, which has made unprecedented strides in space exploration and military technology. As artificial intelligence continues to evolve, we might soon be facing a future where war is waged not on the battlefield, but in cyberspace and through automated drones with devastating consequences. The great city might no longer just be a place of political and economic power, but a symbol of global interconnectedness, where the collapse of such a hub could affect the whole world. The mention of a red star might even be linked to the rise of new powers in the East, as China becomes increasingly assertive in its geopolitical ambitions. Could this be an allusion to a technological arms race, one that escalates tensions between the great powers? But Nostradamus doesn't stop there. In quatrain 14 from his 1st century, he describes a future where, from the enslaved populace, songs, chants, and demands, while princes and lords are held captive in prisons. Could this be a veiled reference to the political unrest currently sweeping through France? For months, citizens have been rising up in massive protests against what they see as corrupt or unjust laws. Nostradamus predicted a time when the people would demand justice and the ruling elite would be overthrown. Could 2025 bring about another French Revolution? France's rich history of rebellion and transformation suggests that such an upheaval is not beyond the realm of possibility. The reference to headless fools could symbolize the violent overthrow of leaders, plunging the nation into political disarray. In a country where the people have historically taken to the streets to demand change, could we be on the cusp of another revolutionary movement? With France already on the edge of political turmoil, it's easy to imagine the country erupting in a new wave of civil unrest. Are the people ready to challenge the authority of those in power once again? Could this time, however, lead to a more drastic change in the political landscape of France? Let's pause for a moment and think about the potential consequences of such a scenario. As social media continues to play a massive role in political activism, the potential for revolutions and protests to spread more rapidly than ever before has become a reality. Could we see a global wave of protests inspired by the same forces of discontent? The headless fools may not only refer to political leaders in France, but to the broader global ruling class, whose positions of power have been challenged by technology, transparency, and public scrutiny. In the face of growing social unrest, how might other nations respond? Could we witness the rise of populist movements around the globe as economic instability continues to worsen? Nostradamus, in many of his writings, alludes to times of upheaval, where the old order is challenged by a rising tide of collective action from the masses. The headless fools might represent not just political leaders, but the structures of power that fail to meet the needs of the people. Is this the moment where the people take control of their destiny, and if so, what will the aftermath look like? One thing is certain: if a global wave of revolution takes place, the world will never be the same again. So, what are your thoughts on these predictions? Do you think they align with what we're already witnessing in the world today? Let's discuss in the comments. Whether you're a skeptic or a firm believer in Nostradamus's prophetic abilities, it's fascinating to reflect on how his quatrains may apply to our current global situation. Do his predictions seem eerily accurate, or is it all just coincidence? It's certainly worth pondering. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of the mysteries and prophecies surrounding Nostradamus and what might lie ahead in 2025. But before we go further, let's take a moment to consider: is a revolution really on the horizon? Could the events of the next few years shape the course of history in ways we're only beginning to grasp? If you believe that the prophecy of Nostradamus is beginning to unfold right before our very eyes, type "The revolution is near" in the comments below. The world seems to be at a crossroads. Critical changes are taking place in the United States. China is facing increasing pressure, and France stands on the precipice of social and political upheaval. These are the very events that Nostradamus warned about centuries ago. Is this mere coincidence, or is something far more significant unfolding? While Nostradamus's quatrains are often cryptic and open to interpretation, the patterns that are emerging in today's world seem too real to ignore. The prophecies he made seem uncannily aligned with the issues currently facing three of the world's most powerful nations. Could we be witnessing the beginning of the fulfillment of his predictions? However, it's important to note that Nostradamus's words are not set in stone. His prophecies act more as warnings, not certainties. The future is not predetermined. It is shaped by the decisions we make in the present. By staying alert to the signs and understanding the forces at play, we have the power to influence the course of events beyond 2025. So let's get this conversation going. Nostradamus's predictions have captivated people for centuries. Some see them as chilling glimpses into the future, while others view them as coincidental interpretations of past events. Yet, as we look at the current global landscape, it's hard to ignore the striking parallels. Are we about to witness the fulfillment of Nostradamus's prophecies? Or is this simply another example of history repeating itself in ways we don't yet understand? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Together, let's dive deeper into this mystery and uncover the truths hidden within. No matter where you stand on the issue of prophecy, one thing is clear: the world is undergoing rapid and unprecedented transformation. Whether you believe in Nostradamus's predictions or not, it's crucial to remain aware of the signs around us. The lessons of history show us that those who pay attention to these changes are the ones who are best prepared for what's to come. If you found this investigation thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep exploring these mysteries with us. If you'd like to support this content and stay updated on more fascinating stories and discussions, hit that notification bell and stay tuned for more. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and keep questioning what you see around you. The future might be uncertain, but by staying informed, we can better prepare for whatever comes our way.